Hello YouTube, another Throwback Thursday, and this time it is a tournament report. Namely, in the 1st of July 2012 saw the great tournament for small armies take place at the Tin Soldier of Antwerp base, and it was organized by Patrick. The setup was to have a relaxed afternoon and battling it out with small force of only 500 points in Warhammer Fantasy Battles 8th edition rules. So I entered, of course, with a Chaos Dwarf force from the Ravening Horse list. And you know what they say about old foxes. So victory conditions were pretty simple. 3-1-0 for a win-draw-loss and victory points for tiebreakers. No additional points were awarded for massacres and all, as in those small-scale, fast-paced battles, one break decides as good as the whole game with no retaliation possible. So in the end, we had 12 participants turning up, so that was a great turnout. And as with the start of the holidays and the first decent weathering months, half a dozen had family matters to attend to. So yeah, it was pretty cool. My force basically consisted of a demon smith and warriors and blunderbusses, supported by, of course, an Earthshaker. And that hurts at 500 points, believe you me. Well, the first round saw me against Hannes with orcs and goblins, and it was a goblin horde numbering over 100 models and consisted of a unit of goblin archers, 2 large hordes of night goblins and a level 1 shaman, a goblin hero and a battle standard bearer. So no problem if I can tackle this tactically. My Tremble will keep the army from charging before turn 4, and hopefully the blunderbusses will decimate units below the fighting strength. So that was the plan. It worked perfectly, losing only the cannon after a redirected charge. The warriors broke one of the large blocks, and the blunderbusses decimated the one with the characters in there, but not breaking them unfortunately in the end, or it would have been an even bigger win. But the result was a 120 to 110 close victory. But not too bad against those points. So round 2, and this was pretty fun, saw me against Kenneth, who's also played Chaos Dwarfs, but he had the Legion of Azork list, so we played to a gentleman's agreement, as Chaos Dwarfs are about the only race in the Warhammer world out to dominate the rest of the old world instead of scheming and backstabbing each other. So in this spirit the battle was fought. The special scenario meant that this was a round where lots of victory points could be gained, as a slain general meant an additional 100 points, and units yield an extra 50%. So a result near the 1000 victory points was doable. He fielded a small block of 10 warriors, a block of 10 fireglaves, a demon smith and a hellshrieker missile launcher. So not so into the bid for Dawizar domination. We both lost exactly 5 models over the whole battle, each losing 2 missile troops due to firing at each other, his fireglaves being neutralized most of the battle by the tremble of my Earthshaker. He lost a further 3 due to moving into the venomous ticket, and I lost some due to the magic that caused his smith to lose a level and forget his only spell, Fireball. So nothing died, no points were scored, and the 2 Chaos Dwarf forces were at Execo at 4 points and 10 victory points bonus each. So the only 2 forces at that point still had a full score, and as those had to face each other to decide the winner, if we both won, the podium would be filled by the rarest army in the history of Warhammer tournaments. But this battle was a 0-0 victory point draw. Let's say that people who were watching by the sidelines weren't having the game of their life. So I had Christophe and his High Elves, which you might remember from the earlier tournament I posted in Throwback Thursday, and he's a bit of the top player at the club, so it would be hard. He fielded a small unit of 5 Swordmasters, a unit of Phoenix Guard with a hero, and a unit of Sea Guard. So he had no wizard. So this would be, for me, a feast of fireballs. The initial stage saw the Swordmasters all wiped out bar 1, and the fight of the Earthshaker and the Blunderbuss reduced the Phoenix Guard to a single rank. Then I was charged by both these units and managed to lose the combat by 1, even with my ranks, and broke. Luckily the Phoenix Guard didn't catch me or it would have all been over, even though I had killed the last Swordmaster and he had only a single pursuing unit. So yeah, that keeps reminding a thing. I rallied on a 3d6 casted an irresistible fireball and a blunderbuss volley, and that reduced my sorcerer to a level 0 powerless mage, but more importantly his Phoenix Guard to just a hero and a standard bearer. I decided to not try and kill the last guard, as that way they could only rally on a double one. As such, as the hero was dragged off the field, as that unit actually panicked and ran off. So his hero, that was one of the fun things of 8th edition, you couldn't split off once you were fleeing, was just dragged along by a standard bearer, and he was just dragged home. So the last unit hasn't been a threat, as they only managed to lose one volley while not trembling by the shaker, and it had been the Sea Guard, and they hadn't been reduced to only 5 models in the meantime by all the shells pounding on them. So unfortunately the scenario special rule of capturing a frog, so the red base you can see in the pictures, eluded me by 1 inch for a further 150 victory points. Yeah, 1 inch for a little frog, but yeah. The result was a 456 points versus 0 victory. So actually, looking at the whole tournament, it was only the goblins who managed to take points against me. All the rest had 0 points. So yeah, go Hashoot. So the unit of the tournament for me was no doubt my Earthshaker. The mighty gun may have killed only 5 models over the whole tournament, actually physically killed them, but the earthquake effect made sure I wasn't charged early on. I was virtually free of opposing missile fire, and the one war machine I did face only fired 3 out of the 6 turns when it was not caught in the aftershock. So I learned the plan worked, and that Kenneth, the other Chaos Dwarf player, had also won his game. And even though he beat me on the amount of victory points, this meant that Hashoot claimed the 2nd and 3rd spots on the tournament. So final result of the day, there were prizes for the first 3 finishers, the painting competition for best army, which wasn't included in the grand total, and a red lantern for the player managing to end last. On the artistic side of things, the painting competition, in which a maximum of 110 points could have been earned, it was Yo with his dwarf, so at 100 points. Then second came Mike Chaos Dwarfs at 93, then came Christophe High Elves at 86, Kenneth was another Kenneth Dark Elves 85, it's also an excellent way now to see all the armies that participated. David with his Halflings at 84 points, Yanis with Orcs and Goblins at 84 points, then Mike with the Skaven at 80 points, Hannes Orcs and Goblins, my opponent from the first battle, at 79 points. Another Night Goblin army of Lily had 75 points, then Sven had 68 points with his Norse. There was Patrick, the organizer himself, with his Demons of Chaos army at 68 points, and finally the other Chaos Dwarf player had 30 points. So let's move on to the final results of the tournament itself. It was won by Sven with the Norse, who had 3 wins, 9 points, 2,250 victory points. So he was the guy that almost scored 1,000 points in the second round. Then Kenneth with his Chaos Dwarfs had 2 wins, 1 draw for 7 points and 730 victory points. And myself came in at the 3rd place with 2 wins, 1 draw, 7 points and 576 points. So the Red Lantern went to Lily, who with her Night Goblins had 0 points and only 3 losses, scoring a measly 221 victory points. So that was the end of a nice, successful, small tournament. It really was a joy to play in, and well, sometimes these little things are just plain fun. But well, thanks for listening. If you like this kind of stuff, you know, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and you'll hear me back next week for another Throwback Thursday. Did you like the Chaos Dwarf content in this video and want to know more about Chaos Dwarfs? Then check out the Chaos Dwarf online forum by scanning the QR code you now see on screen.